Backlog anime is a fickle beast. One day you're at your summer internship, killing time by looking back at some 2015 shows you missed, and you stumble upon an interesting looking piece with a funny name and add it to your plan to watch list. Then 7 years pass and hi there, here I am, still on that plan to watch list. You can have all the intention in the world to watch an older show, but when that hot seasonal show that everyone is talking about appears, it takes precedence. Every 3 months. For 7 years. Sometimes you just need to be forced to watch something, to be given a moral obligation to watch an older anime. And since we don't yet live in a society that legislates anime watching, that probably means you're gonna want to lose a bet. Or if you're sane, just have a friend recommend a show to you. This video exists because I lost a fantasy football bet to my friend and famous YouTuber Replay Value when he beat me in our Week 9 matchup. That matchup was in November 2021, and I would greatly appreciate if you did not check what the date this video was published on was. Despite toying with the idea of forcing me to watch Guilty Crown, he graciously ordered me to watch none other than Kekkai Sensen, a show that, if Mal stats are anything to go by, a lot of you have unfairly let waste away on the PTW. But before we get to that, I do think it's important to mention that I finished ahead of him in the final standings. Although I did not win the league, that honor goes to the Queen of Anime Twitter, shocking 807. Anyway, Blood Blockade, or Kekkai Sensen as I'll refer to it moving forward, is a 2015 anime from Studio Bones and everyone's favorite chocolate commercial director, Rie Matsumoto. It's a show that is probably impossible to properly summarize, so I'll just give you the hook that grabbed me all those years ago. An interdimensional portal opened in New York City and caused a ruckus, and now there's aliens and superhumans running around. It's an intriguing premise and certainly an interesting enough world to tell countless stories in, and Kekkai Sensen does just that, following around our crazy cast of characters, the secret society of Libra, as they go through different zany adventures in order to help keep the city relatively safe. The show structures itself around a fairly unique brand of storytelling, which is quite enjoyable, and also something that I think gives Kekkai Sensen spectacular replay value. Yes, I'm saying this because it's a funny bit, but I also mean it. To the point where I rewatched episode 1 immediately after finishing it because I could not follow what was going on. It's the type of show that demands your attention, both because of its top-tier direction and slick visuals, and also because the plot likes to get, wacky, and also make you read. I would be lying if I said that this show grabbed me right from the beginning. I was mostly just confused, incredible episode 1 fight animation notwithstanding. The episode that sold me on the series though was episode 3, in which one of the main characters plays a game of interdimensional chess, prosfair, for 99 hours to save someone's life. It's where everything clicks, where you see what kind of world this is and what kind of people would fight to protect others in it. The show doesn't do a lot of hand-holding with its world building, minus the giant scrolling blocks of text, and it's up to you to create your own understanding of how the world works. You have to buy into what the show is doing to properly settle in and enjoy it. Or as Kekkai Sensen itself says, once you get used to the abnormalities, they become mundane. And if the Mal score and my Twitter replies are any indication, quite a few people did not get used to those abnormalities. One reason for that is that the show has an overarching plot, which involved one of my favorite characters, but it really puts it on the back burner until the last minute. The first season is really all about vibes, and showing you micro stories involving some of the quirkier residents of Hellsom's Lot, which is why the show is at its best when it's doing one-off episodic content. And if the internet's, or my own 19-year-old opinions on Cowboy Bebop are anything to go by, a lot of people don't like episodic content. Part of the difference in feel between the overarching narrative and the smaller stories is something I didn't know until I was making this video. That the big plot line and ultimately the finale of the season are anime original. Also that the finale was delayed about 4 months, so I'm glad we fixed all of our production and overwork issues in the last 7 years, guys. Meanwhile, all the episodic episodes are one-chapter adaptations, which is why they all have so much extra life and room to breathe. The two most memorable episodes for me have to be Chess and Burger Time. And what I like about that is if you've seen this show, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, you are probably very confused. And that, dear reader, is the epitome of the Kekkai Sensen experience. It's the type of show that will purposefully skip over a fight as a joke, and instead dedicate an entire episode to the difficulty of choosing where to eat as a group. It's actually kind of astonishing the amount of character development the show seamlessly weaves into each one-off story, where small lines of dialogue, individual actions, and this oddly specific character intro card all slowly build up our main cast. Zap is actually a great example of this. He was a character that I very much disliked a couple episodes in, but grew to love because beneath his idiotic, hedonistic tendencies, he is a surprisingly loyal and earnest person, even if he is, again, an idiot. Leo obviously benefits from the episodic format the most, as he's the protagonist and basically in every episode. And while I think they kinda hit hyper speed on his character arc a bit to make the finale work, it's exceptionally cool to see him go from despondent and really just trying to find a purpose to a loved and important member of this found family. This isn't an opening analysis video, but if you'll indulge me for 2 seconds, the opening lines of "Where do I find meaning in the scars I could not choose, and I can't even pretend to be empty" are just so good. Leo is a goated MC, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. They also do this fun thing where all the side characters are just extremely cool, which is a very rad strategy that I think more shows should employ. Did I mention there's a guy named Dog Hummer? Every inch of this show just oozes personality, and KK is the only character to temporarily supplant Inosuke as my Twitter avatar in the entire last year. The first season dedicates a lot of time setting up who these characters are and their relationships with each other, and rightfully benefits from it. But just as that's fully established, the season ends. So I can only hope that season 2 is a step up in every regard. And I'm sure those opinions are not polarizing at all. There's also a lot of really cool direction all throughout season 1 that I am simply not smart enough to really pick apart, while I'm also trying my best to follow the plot. So again, all the more reason to replay it, especially since season 2 has a different director. But if you're interested in what makes great anime direction, then you should check out youtube.com/replayvalue. Link is in the description. As far as Kekkai Sensen's replay value is concerned, I think there's something to be said that it still lives on, however faintly, in the Western community zeitgeist 7 years after it first aired. Even if it probably doesn't get the talk, and certainly not the scores that it deserves, there was something about that first season that grabbed people and never really let go. I mean, I never even watched it until now, but it was always a show I recognized and thought looked cool. And any seasonal anime watcher can tell you that that's a pretty impressive feat when 80 new shows come out every 3 months, and even the popular ones are forgotten by the time the next 80 are released. Kekkai Sensen, Season 1 at least, is a pretty unique experience, and one that also tells really compelling mini-stories to boot. It's a show that I really think everyone should finally drag off their plan-to-watch list. I did, and I certainly don't regret it. I'd bet that even if the whole show doesn't end up being your jam, you'll still find an episode or two that really captures you and makes you want to return to it. Even now, fresh off finishing the first season, I'm catching myself rewatching entire scenes while editing this video. That's just how alluring this show can be. And I didn't mention it earlier because I think the action gets a little oversold on Hypebeast Clip What's the Sauce Instagrams and Twitters, and that makes people come into the show thinking it's a battle shonen, but all the action is absolutely incredible, and I watched this scene of Klaus 5 times in a row while watching the episode for the first time. So come for the high-octane superpowered action, and stay for the quirky, zany, and often introspective storytelling. Get hyped when a character yells out an attack name, but also get invested in the heartwarming way character relationships are strengthened and fleshed out. And don't worry, Even once you get used to those abnormalities, Kekkai Sensen is a piece of art that is anything but mundane.